Herndon Town Council, public hearing, February 11th, 2020.
Good evening, everyone. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and ask that you join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Come on in, make yourselves at home. This evening, I do have one announcement. Councilmember DeLaguila will not be here this evening. We have two sets of minutes for approval tonight. Is there a motion to approve the January 21st work session minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? And that motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the January 28th public hearing minutes?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Discussion on the motion. I will abstain as I was not here that evening. So all those in favor say aye.
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 And those opposed, and one abstention. We have no presentations this evening, so I will call on Mr. Town Manager for any comments you may have for us.
Nothing this evening, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who wants to start us off? Mr. McKenna. And we'll
Just a reminder, everybody, that tax season's coming, so make sure you get your comments in. Also, any comments are greatly appreciated as we start to form our groups and come up with a budget. Every year is an interesting year, so please keep the comments coming. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Friedrichs.
I'd like to remind everybody that it's actually budget season,
What did I say?
tax season.
Oh, yeah, it kind of is.
So we still want
Potato,
your comments
patata.
regardless. But I just wanted to let you all know that, and I mentioned this in the work session while Bill dies over here. That I had the pleasure of attending a meeting with the Fairfax County Economic Advisory Committee, and one of the guests there was the new Fairfax County Economic Development Authority chairman, Victor, now I can't remember, Victor Haskins.
I think so, yeah.
Wonderful, exciting guy, full of energy, full of excitement about this area, as we all should be. And gained a lot of very interesting information. So I hope to bring that back to our staff and maybe work on some new things. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Baker.
No comments tonight.
Thank you. Mr. DeCall.
Well, I echo Mr. McKenna and Councilmember Signe Fredericks. Yes, tax season is on, but more importantly, budget is on. So please chime in and give us your input. This is the perfect time to, for you to tell us how you want the taxpayers' money being utilized in the town of Herndon. So please make sure, give us input through emails, coming to public hearing, or many other media we have. So please make sure you give us input, and then we'll make sure, we will prioritize that way. So thank you.
Right. Thank you. Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. And we have gotten several comments from folks on the budget. Thank you very much for your comments. And last week, several of us went down to the Virginia Municipal League Legislative Day. Mm-hmm. The mayor, myself, and Councilmember Friedrichs, and also our town attorney went down. And one of the things that they had while we were there, and we were invited to the governor's mansion with people from all over the state for something they're calling the Virginia Local Government Exchange, which I think is going to be awesome. I went to visit my son in Lee County, Virginia, which is all the way down at the end of the state. And as you're driving, you will go back and forth from Kentucky to Virginia to Tennessee. It's very rural. And they don't have very good broadband. I could barely use my phone. I could get in a minute, and then it would cut off. So the folks in Alexandria will be working with people in Wise County. So that way they can talk about things like Metro and why it's so important for us. And maybe we can start working a little better with our folks in the more rural areas, because the things in those areas aren't the same thing that we have interest in up here. Thank goodness we've got broadband. We can even go hang out on the town green and get free Wi-Fi. Thank goodness.
My children are most impressed with that.
Yes.
It's the only thing we've ever done that they're excited about.
Yes. So I think that's great. And that's one of the things that you can do when you have a budget that puts things like in there. But down in Lee County, I don't care how much money they got, they don't have the infrastructure, so they really need help. So anyway, that was a great meeting, and learned a lot, and got a copy of the legislative packet if anybody wants to see it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, it's always interesting to go down to the Virginia Municipal League and meet with other jurisdictions. I'm serving somehow as the town section chair on the executive board. I'm not sure how that happened, but it is exciting because one of the pieces of feedback that the president of VML got was that some of the towns, and particularly some of the smaller towns, are feeling like they aren't getting a lot of attention and a lot of service from VML. And so the president, Tommy Smeagol, from Norfolk, who is from obviously a very large place and a city, has put together a town task force with, I'm not going to try to name who's on it, but there's 4 of us, and 2 of us are from Northern Virginia, and the other 2 are from towns throughout the state to try and solicit feedback from towns and figure out what we can do to better support smaller jurisdictions and how what we have in common, but also what we need to make sure we're providing, because I think we can learn a lot from each other. I also wanted to mention that Monday, all of a sudden, I can't believe it's already here, is President's Day, February 17th. So the town offices will be closed. You can look on our town website for the DPW schedule, golf course schedule, and all those sorts of things. And of course, Friday is Valentine's Day, so I'm wearing my Valentine's scarf, and love is in the air. I want to extend my congratulations to Mr. McKenna on his engagement. I could not be more thrilled for you. So with that, that brings us to comments from the audience, and I see several people here this evening. This is a time to come forward and speak on any item that's not listed as a public hearing item. You have up to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record, and when the red light comes on, please wrap up. Who would like to start us off? Mr. Burke.
My name is Alexander Burke. I live at 910 George's Place, apartment 304 in Herndon. And I am talking about the downtown development of 270 new apartment buildings to build there too. I'm asking for 10% of the low income and half of them for the senior citizens to have a place to live there too. And all of you people on September the 17th, 2019, you received a report from Cornerstone. Okay. Now, the question we're faced with right now is this. The land is owned by the town of Herndon and Fairfax County. Herndon is 24,000 people. 53% of our population do not speak English. They speak a second language instead of their language they speak there too. It's in the Cornerstone report that all you people have received there too. Well, I mean, as simple as this is how simple it is. There are poor people and they are poor senior citizens. This is public land that's going to be sold to a developer. I'm all for the developer to come into our town of Herndon and make the 270 apartment buildings. I'm all for there too. And I feel it's very, very important for you people to really take a look into it. Keep one thing in mind. Fairfax County is the 3rd most wealthiest county in the whole United States. We really need to get involved with the supervisors up down at the government section, including the Grainsville supervisors and all the supervisors, to work together. We have a very high quality people in the Department of Housing, and we have our neighborhood resource center that is pretty well run by Cornerstone. We can use those people. And that is really my comment. I just want to add on something that's not on the report in here. I was reading the Washington Post today. Donald Trump is going to be cutting money for transportation. Is this going to hurt what we plan to do on Elwyn Street there too, Spring Street there too, and near the metro station? Is this going to be hurting the people of town of Herndon? And what direction of us 24,000 people should go in if it's going to hurt us? Which way should we turn? We got to get the roads in. To make metro to run smooth, we got to have the roads. And Those are my comments tonight, there too.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. We share your passion for diverse housing stock, and we are looking for that in our future developments. So I appreciate you continuing to bring that to our attention. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on any item that's not listed as a public hearing item? Yes, ma'am. Come on down.
Beta 631 Oak Street. Hang on just a sec. Bear with me. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Conduct versus ethics. We've seen the failure of the Code of Ethics to address conduct. Violations embarrass. They embarrass the perpetrator. They embarrass everyone of this body. They embarrass the entire 20-odd thousand members of our town. In addition to embarrassment, frat house conduct puts us at a negotiating disadvantage with Comstock and others. We need a code of conduct for all staff, council, boards, and commissions, and we need proactive intervention. Thank you, Mr. Town Manager, for providing the studies asserting heritage-based increases in property values in tourism. I've reviewed them, and I hope they'll be posted on the town website so everyone can review them. These studies have no bearing on our 173 heritage structures, in part because the majority of Herndon's heritage structures were hastily built after the Great Fire of 1917. At that time, focus was on quickly housing the large number of displaced families, not architecture, not materials. These structures are functional and utilitarian, but not appropriate for the burdens of the heritage designation. The condition field, the town manager and I have been talking about. For over 2 months, I've asked staff for the condition field on the survey forms. If this field is a true objective metric of our heritage structures' conditions over time, this could be a valuable, dispassionate measure of the success or failure of the program. Let's get it. Creativity versus mandates. I recently visited Fairhope, Alabama. Fairhope models what Herndon aspires to. It's quaint, historic, walkable, and a true tourist attraction. Lots of gorgeous metal roofs, shutters, window boxes, etc., oozing with creative approaches to retain the historic look and feel. Over the decades, the Fairhope City Council rejects efforts to impose restrictions on materials and architecture. The stakeholders themselves, creatively, free from government limitations, are doing a superior job of preserving Fairhope's history. Allowing stakeholders the freedom to preserve each structure's unique character can transform Herndon's failing heritage program to the same success that Fairhope enjoys. Lastly, my poor neighbor complained that the town is forcing him to paint rotten wood on his failing heritage house. I hope that's not the case. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to come forward? Yes, sir. And you're next. Come on down. You're hiding back there. I couldn't see you. Excuse me.
Mayor, council, neighbors, my name is Yulo Poulos. I live at 1200 Grant Street in Herndon, Virginia. Used to live in Reston. Talk about the metal roof issue. It's a high cost to replace a metal roof, and does it really provide character? And I just heard it was 100+ houses that have some historical reference to the town of Herndon. Are we going to subject the owners of that property to high costs of replacing a metal roof when it has to be replaced? A friend of mine had his son had his metal roof replaced without knowledge of Herndon historical section. He was forced to take the shingles down and replace it with a metal roof, and was put into real financial bind because of that. And what did it really gain? Does a roof really provide that much character? And it is a private property right that I see that needs to be addressed. We need to support the historical houses that we have here in Herndon. It does help provide a good character but does our roof really provide that much character? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. I'm Jo Ormisher. I live at, it feels like, 750 Centre Street.
At Art Space.
And I'm with Arts Herndon. I just thought it appropriate. It's coming to the budget season, as we all know, and I'm sure you've all got plenty of reading to do and what have you, but I'd just like to say thank you. I've been here just a little over a year now. I'd like to say thank you to everybody in Herndon for the friendship, and that's been really enormous. I've found lots of new friends, and thank you all of you for being new friends. Thank you for the people of Herndon and the townspeople, town council members and town staff for supporting us as well. It's not easy. The arts are a very easy sort of, let's put a line through that for the time being. You haven't done that. You've supported us, and I thank you all for that. We've come up this year with a pile of new things. If you haven't been over lately, come and see us. We've been working on TEDx, which is really dear to my heart. Madam Mayor, you and I have talked, and we're going to move forward with the Youth and Arts Month in April, which is very, very big. And working with my dear friends down in Richmond, we're bringing up the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. It's a long bus, a travelling art show. It's 78 foot long. It is huge. It's the first time it's going to be in Northern Virginia, and it's going to be here in Herndon. So come support us and support the children. Thank you for supporting me as well. The other thing is we're moving forward with all sorts of new fundraising ideas. One thing we've got coming up at the end of this month is our Mardi Gras. Come along. Yeah, I can promise you a really good night. Really great cooking from our friend Kevin, and a great night. And one of the ways we're using to raise money. Lastly, I'd just like to say the resolution you're passing tonight to amend simplification of applying for grants. From this poor, lowly soul who doesn't know how to write grants very well, this is great. Thank you. It will help us a lot. You still get to see what we're doing. It's still there, but it's not all couched in lots of different words. Thank you very much, all of you. I appreciate that greatly, as I know my colleagues in the arts do. I know Herndon really, truly does support the arts. We live in an arts district. This weekend I had 4 events going on this weekend. Concurrently, we did an improv in Arts Herndon, and there was one over in Next Stop Theatre. There was a house concert. There were all sorts of things going on. What a great weekend for the arts in Herndon. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on an item that's not a public hearing item that would include our general and consent items? I think I neglected to mention that before. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward? Okay. Thank you very much. Well, that does bring us to our public hearings, and right away we will jump into the budget season. Don't y'all know it's an election year, talking about tax season? Resolution 20G08 to solicit public comment for consideration during the development of the town manager's proposed budget for fiscal year 2021. We have received several comments already for the record. They've been entered into the record, and I'll open the public hearing and recognize our town manager, Mr. Bill Ashton, for comments.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Simply put, this is an opportunity for citizens and businesses to come here and offer up suggestions for what they would like to see in our annual budget. We are currently underway in the development of that budget. We're getting our revenue projections back. We are starting to crunch through some of the departmental requests and those numbers. We're prepping to meet with you all in the coming week or so. And so this is just a way for you all to be more informed prior to those meetings. So we annually hold this budget solicitation for comments at the first public hearing in February. So with that, let the comments begin.
All right. Are there questions from council before we hear from the audience? Any questions? Okay. Thank you. So this is a public hearing, and I will call for comments from the audience if you'd like to come forward and speak on this item, which is just our initial ask for kind of opening of budget season. This certainly isn't your only opportunity. So if you'd like to come forward, once again, you have 3 minutes. State your name and address for the record. Is there anyone that would like to come forward? Yes, sir. Followed by Ms. Followed by Ms. Veda.
Okay.
Yes, certainly.
My name is Alexander Burke. I live at 910 George's Place, apartment 304 in Herndon. With our budget money, do we have like invest our money like in Wall Street or like investments maybe overseas or handle our money in that way to raise more capital and money? Because the impression I got there too over these couple of weeks or two, base it our tax money, and since the word at $100, we base it as $80 to run the town of Herndon, and $20 is going into reserve. Roughly, these are rough figures. And what direction do you think we should go in, like investing our money, our reserve money?
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Come on down.
Still Ann Veda, still 631 Oak Street. I haven't dug into the nitty-gritty, so I'd like to make some high-level comments. I really appreciate the arts. I appreciate all the rich activities that we have and all the subsets of interests. As we've seen earlier in previous months and recognitions in this body, cyclists have a great community and bring a lot. We are self-sustaining. We pay our way, and we not only pay our way, we're very charitable. I think that it's dangerous when governments get involved in arts. I don't want our government picking marble or bronze or pink or blue or making artistic decisions or funding or not funding. I think it's very important that all of our hobbies and interests be self-sustaining. The other high-level comment I have is that I'd like us to get out of debt. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on this item? Comments for the budget? Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and move to council level for discussion and action.
Madam Chair, I move Resolution 20-G-08.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mr. McKenna, seconded by Ms. Baker. Discussion on the motion. Mr. McKenna.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Ashton and the rest of the town staff for the job well done. I do actually want to make a comment in regards to your comments. I thought they were very astute. There are rules and regulations in regards to how money can be invested. We can't arbitrarily put it like an international fund and things of that nature. It has to be within the construct of the Virginia state statute in regards to where money can be, bonds, stocks, things of that nature. So it has to be approved by the state. Again, you can thank the Dillon rule for certain things on that, but we're constricted by many things on that. And that's about it from here. So, but I just think that's an important thing that needs to be known. We can't, unfortunately, invest like a 401k where we can be aggressive or things of that nature. We're constructed by state statute. Thanks.
Thank you. Other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so again, this just opens up that we're ready for discussion. We've been mentioning this for a while, so want to continue that, and that's essentially what this resolution does. I do anticipate this is going to be a tough budget season. There's a lot of external factors at play. There's a lot going on, certainly within the town and outside the town, that are going to impact our budget. And personnel is, again, what we talked about. The town manager mentioned a couple weeks ago. It's the majority of our budget, right? It's about 70% of our budget is personnel. And making sure that we stay competitive, that we retain those great employees, and that customer service that we've all come to love and expect. So with that in mind, yeah, we certainly want citizen input and involvement, and to really understand it, because a budget represents your values, right? It represents what you see as a town, as a citizenry, what's important, what we want to invest in, and certainly want the input as many citizens as possible of what we want to collectively invest in. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments?
There we go. I always look forward to talking about the budget because, as the council member said, it does reflect our values. And Herndon is such an awesome place. I don't know that we would have all the bikers cruising through here if we hadn't have taken the time, money, and energy to add the lighting on the WNOD trail, which also makes it a wonderful freeway to our downtown and to the other neighborhoods along it. And we're talking about extending that. So the things that make Herndon awesome, if we take them all away, I don't think we will be, but we all need to sit down and have the talk at the table. I love our parks. It would be really easy for us to sell all those and just collect revenue because we don't collect taxes on those because they're government owned, but that is part of what makes Herndon absolutely awesome. Having parks close enough for everyone in our town to just take a walk. So thank you very much, and please keep talking and sending us letters.
Thank you. Are there other comments from council? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is important season, budget season, and we anticipate more comments from the public as well because at the end of the day, it's your money and you decide how you want the money to be used. Having said that, we received many comments and feedback, and some of the feedback talks about eliminating the West. When I say West, West is of resources or, all sorts. And Town of Herndon is always doing that. And to give you example, for example, the recent change in schedule of trash collection and recycle collection was to make it more efficient. So we eliminate the waste of labor and all sorts. And also many other ways we can find out where the wastage is and how we can eliminate. The reorg in staff, for example, one person can do something, but you can redirect that person to do other based on their skills and skill sets and abilities. We can always do the reorg to make sure the work gets done, and our town manager is on top of that, and I want to congratulate him on that one. So we are definitely working to make sure any sort of leakages on the budget is taken care of, and please keep the comments coming, and we're working on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Again, I want to join Councilmember McKenna in thanking the staff. I know this is going to be a tough job, and they're going to be sitting down with all of us and going through the nuts and bolts, which is not easy, although I find it enjoyable. But I did want to comment that at the Fairfax County Economic Development meeting that I spoke of earlier, the head of the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, Victor Haskins, who I've spoken of, said that one of the major problems that Fairfax County encounters right now is a lack of, we train a lot of young people to be cybersecurity experts, and we train them to be computer whizzes, and we have the biggest brain drain in the country. They are leaving us. As soon as they graduate, they're going someplace else. And the main thing that they cite is standard of living. It's more enjoyable to live somewhere that's beautiful, somewhere that you can walk, someplace where there is public transportation. So I encourage us all to think bigger. We can't achieve a healthy economy if people don't want to live here. And right now we're in a good position, but I fear if this continues, cybersecurity jobs are going to leave the area and we will suffer a certain amount of pain from that. So as I echo what everybody else has said, please send us your comments. Thanks.
Thank you. So I echo the thoughts of my colleagues, and I just want to ensure that everyone is aware that this is just sort of open, the shot across the bow to open up budget season. We certainly welcome hearing from you in all the ways that our council members have mentioned. I will try my best to remember to remind you for budget comments during comments from the audience over the next several public hearings. The actual budget will be released on April 1st, which I always find hilarious, but we do have already at least 2 public hearings scheduled for the budget officially once it's released, and those will be April 14th and 28th. But please don't wait until then to let us hear from you. So with that, I will Call the question on the motion, which was made by Mr. McKenna and seconded by Ms. Baker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed, that motion carries. Our next public hearing, which I believe is our last one, is ordinance 20016 to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a lease agreement between the town and the Eldon Street Players for space at 717 Lynn Street, which is a portion of the depot building. I'll open the public hearing and recognize our town attorney for the staff report. Ms. Gates.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The town is currently a party to a lease with the Eldon Street Players, commonly known as Next Stop Theater Company, for space at 717 Lynn Street, which is our depot building. They have been in that building for 4 years at this point. That current lease expires on February 28th of this year. They have requested to renew, and we are asking that the town approve a new lease, which would expire on February 28th, 2023, for the same, under the same terms that the current lease is, which is a month-to-month, with the cost being $1 per term, $1 per year, which is the standard fee for entities in town buildings. The lease has been signed by the Next Stop officials, and if approved, will take effect on March 1st.
Thank you. Are there questions on this lease? Any questions? Yes.
And this is a month-to-month lease, right?
Yes, it's month to month. If Next Stop wants to withdraw from the lease, they have to give 30 days notice. If the town wants to terminate the lease, we have to give 90 days notice, but it is a month-to-month lease.
Thank you.
Term.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. So this is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and speak on this item, same rules as before. You have up to 3 minutes. State your name and address for the record. Yes, sir. Would you like to come forward and speak on the lease?
My name is Alexander Burke. I live at 910 George's Place, apartment 304 in Herndon. Okay, on the 29th of February, we're going to have on Saturday from 9 to 11. We're going to have a town hall circle meeting where people can talk about things. And this would be a good time for people ideas of budgets or problems in hers to talk about their town. And it's a very great opportunity for all of the people in Herndon, and very thankful for the mayor and the town councils will be participating on that day.
Thank you,
and
sir.
I want to say thank you, which is important.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak about the Next Stop Theater lease, Eldon Street Players? Anyone? No? Okay. Thank you. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and move to council level for discussion and action. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor, I move ordinance 20-0-16 for approval.
I will second that.
Thank you for being so clear. We have a motion on the floor made by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Mr. McKenna. Is there a discussion on the motion?
Yes, look forward to seeing Next Stop occupy that space. It was empty for a while, and it's really a nice presence there with them being on the downtown green.
Further discussion? Anyone? No. All right. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, that motion carries. And we have one general item, which is Resolution 20G09 to amend the Resolution 16G03 adopted January 12th, 2016, which establishes a policy for the disbursement of town funds to nonprofit organizations. This item is a result of the council's work session discussions back in December, January, and earlier this month. And I'll recognize, is it Jenny Tripoli? Okay. All of a sudden, I was like, wait. Jenny Tripoli, I'll talk slowly, the Director of Finance, for what I'm sure is a lengthy staff report. Come on down. You're the next contestant.
$1, Madam Mayor. Sorry. Sorry, I should have been a little quicker on the draw.
I'm teasing you.
This resolution, as you mentioned, amends the resolution related to cash donations to simplify the process. There were some reporting requirements that were kind of difficult and time-consuming, and we were cutting checks twice a year instead of just once a year, and that was kind of a waste of time and resources as well. So this resolution focuses only on the cash donations. We are going to bring forward a separate resolution for in-kind and sponsorships, just since they're a little bit different, and we wanted to make sure that it was clear for both. So I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, any questions for Ms. Tripoli?
Comments?
Well, we're not at comments yet. This is time for questions. But it's not a public hearing, so if there are no questions, I'll move to council level for discussion and action. Do you have a motion for us, Mr. DeCall? Or no?
Madam Mayor,
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
I move to approve Resolution 16G03.
Yeah.
20G.
Right.
It's amending.
Oh,
Item
amending
number 8.
16.
We know
yeah.
what you mean.
Okay,
Who seconded that?
20G03.
Vice Mayor. Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve made by Mr. DeCall and seconded by the Vice Mayor. Did you have?
Can we make sure we have that number correct?
Yes, it's
Just-
Resolution 20G09.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Great presentation. Just wanted to say the point I made earlier, eliminating waste. For example, we're cutting checks twice. That requires resources, people to take care of the funds and then all those things versus writing those checks once. This is one step of eliminating any kind of waste. And thank you for moving towards that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, Madam Vice Mayor?
Yes, this is great. I know that the nonprofits who are on a shoestring really appreciate not having to go through this twice. And whenever you have to write a check twice, and some of these checks are pretty small, it's costing us a lot of money. So excellent suggestion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other comments? Mr. McKenna?
Yes, again, thanks, staff. And this is, again, so people understand, this has nothing to do with allocating anything for the budget per se, but streamlining what we're trying to do to make the budget happen. I think far too often people conflate things that are done on council in regards to process. In order for us to fix the process, we have to go into and do micro changes before we can look at the macro idea. So I just want to thank staff for that and to clarify why we're voting for this. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're putting a rubber stamp on everything. It means that we just want to make the process easier, not only for staff, which actually saves taxpayer dollars, but also the nonprofits who spend a lot of hours doing this, which is a net negative to what they're trying to do in their overall costs. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Other comments from my colleagues? Okay, well, with that, I will call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion carries, and that completes our agenda this evening.
Madam Mayor, seeing no other business, I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? We stand adjourned at 7:37 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
38 minutes.
What was your guess? 30?
No.